taking a little bit of time out of your evening for joining Seth and I on this webinar call. Just to introduce myself real quick and tell you my story before I turn the time over to Seth. So I am 37 years old, live in Eastern Idaho, father of 5 daughters. And to be honest with you, when I found LifeVantage or 2 subs, I actually wasn't even looking for it. I had talked to a gentleman named Curtis Bohm and Patty, and they had told me about this this Nerf2 activator, that affects our genes. And Curtis said, well, why don't you just give it a try? And at the time, I don't consider myself very old. I mean, none of us do, right? Even when we're in 50s or 60s. But I've had some wear and tear on my body due to just things that have come genetically and just playing basketball and sports in general. And so I really didn't know what to watch for, to be honest with you. And when I started taking it, I was dealing with a plantar fascia issue that I had slightly torn from playing football around Thanksgiving time at the end of 2014. I had issues, neck, back issues, stuff that happens once you get over that 30-year-old that, kind of just comes from being active playing sports. In addition to that, I've always had really bad vision, thanks to my mom, one of those genetic things, right, that we're talking about here. So when I started taking it, I noticed a complete difference in my foot with the plantar fascia issue. And to kind of backtrack, I had gone to a doctor, he'd done steroid shots in my foot, told me to stay off it, and it never quite got better. I went back to him and he said, wear a boot while you're sleeping and just rest it more, that'll get better. It still never did. So that was around the time that I started taking the Nerf2, the Protandim. And it was amazing how that went away. My neck and back issues went away. My knees are 80% better. And I have the energy and recovery from working out now that I can do something the next day, whereas it would take me like a week before I could do something. In addition to that, I had been seeing my eye doctor, and almost like clockwork, my vision had gotten worse every year, right? 0.25 was going up in power in my contacts. After taking the Nerf2 for about 6 to 8 months, I went to my eye doctor visit, and they had been watching my eyes for cataracts, and I was at a 3.75 power. And then now they said the cataracts is gone. And in addition to that, my vision went back to a 3.5. So that never happens, right? I mean, our eyesight doesn't get better as we get older. Usually it gets worse. So that really made me a believer in this Nerf2 Protandim. And just so you guys know, I've had grandparents die of cancer. My dad died at the age of 58 of ALS. So I've been looking for something. There's got to be something we can do better from prevention. My wife's got colon cancer running on her side with her grandma and her mom. She hasn't had it, but she's at risk. I knew that there's got to be a better way to turn off those bad genes and turn on the good genes. And that's really what we're talking about here. So I don't want to take all of Seth's time. So I just want to introduce Seth. Seth Mulder from American Fork, Utah. He's been with LifeVantage now for 7 years, in network marketing for 12 years. So he's done it all. He's been in corporate America, owned his own business, network marketing. He's done all 3 of the wheelhouses that everyone kind of looks at. So that's a great mentor. And what I respect about him really is the fact that when we've talked, Seth, you've really just, I guess, told me the nuts and bolts of, how LifeVantage is, how Nerf2 really works, and it's really preventative, make your life better, healthy now and for the long term. And I've loved how you tell me like it is. There's no sugarcoating. Either you want the help, health-wise and financially, or you don't. It's really up to us. So without any further ado, turn the time over to Seth.
Wow, Jake, thank you so much. I was listening to your story, and as soon as he said boot, I thought he was going to ask you to wear a boot while you were playing basketball. I'm a country guy, so I wear boots all the time, but I'm thinking, what kind of boot are you supposed to wear playing basketball? So I was listening on the edge, but thank you so much for setting this up, guys. We wouldn't be on this call tonight if Jake hadn't said, hey, let's get a webinar going tonight. Jake is launching his business, and so I appreciate my dialogue with him, the work that he's doing as he starts this business of creating a cash flow instrument that can be absolutely life-changing. So, guys, we've got 22 minutes left. I am not going to speak 1 minute past 9:30. Just so we all are on the same page, and that I meet or exceed your expectations. Really briefly, my story. When I was asked to look at the technology, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about, probably 2/3 of our time tonight, talking about science and talking about science, scientific breakthrough, technology, research, etc. And what it might mean for you or people you know. And then we'll also talk about the business. But just to back up, when I got the call saying, hey, why don't you look at this new technology, this new company that's going to start, I was like, give me a break. I have no time. My mind was going a bunch of different places. I didn't really have that desire, honestly, to go look at something. And I was kind of a bratty about it, to be quite honest. And in fact, I took an initial look, which was enough to see that, oh, there's a pill, there's a bottle, I'm out of here. And I literally walked out of a meeting with one of the vice presidents of this company, which is kind of comical. But it was afterward I got home and they said, we'd like you to look at actually some science. Don't worry about the marketing piece. Just look at the science. And they sent me an ABC News investigative report that blew my mind. That turned me around 180 degrees and got me super excited. I dove into the science. And guys, I'm going to say this: if the science tonight makes sense, then it makes sense. Okay, it meaning what we're doing absolutely makes sense, and the business is a product of that. I'm a business guy. I love business. We're going to talk about finance tonight, but we don't have a long-term deal unless the science is there. Unless there's something so big, not like Pokemon Go or Go or whatever it is. Not like, we were just talking about this at the dinner table. My wife just walked in the room here. What were we talking about at the dinner table that was a fad? Fidget spinners. Guys, have you seen fidget spinners, right? I go into a corporate America office and I see 25-year-olds, 26-year-old girls with a fidget spinner on their desk. It just makes me laugh. My son made a fidget spinner. He decommissioned an old Razor scooter, okay, and with the ball bearings and made his own fidget spinners. I'm not talking about fidget spinners tonight. I'm talking about a business that has absolutely long-term trends. We call them hard trends. Something that's going to make a difference for decades, not something that we might be talking about for months or even a few years. I'm not interested in that. I really want to do something that can last a long time. So if you have not seen that ABC News investigative report, that's your homework. You absolutely want to look at that. Again, like I said, it's actually what turned me around to even looking at the company. So I would share that with you. I'm trying to load my presentation, and honestly, I'm having a difficulty finding it. So I'm give me just 3 seconds here. I've got so many photo albums here in my iPad that I'm trying to find the science piece. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to select all. We're going to jump in. We've now got 19 minutes. Okay, so whatever we're going to do it in 19 minutes. I probably can't say everything that we could or should talk about, but what we will be able to do is give you some information, some facts, not opinions. I'm going to be sharing peer-reviewed, published research, the kind of research that, frankly, I've been in and out of nutrition for the last 25 years, since 1987. I guess that's 30 years. Crazy to think about. And I've been in and out of business, and I've seen network marketing and direct marketing, and I've been in and out of the health food store for about 30 years as well. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is something that is absolutely at the forefront of medicine and science. It's not the old story. It's like nothing we've ever seen, and that is super exciting. So we're at the forefront of nutrigenomics. Amelia, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can see that visual? Okay, great, we're good. So at the forefront of nutrigenomics, that's probably a new term for most of you. It was for me when I sat with a world-renowned scientist, crazy scientist, discoverer of the pill, of Protandim, and actually the discoverer in 1969 of a free radical scavenging enzyme in our body called superoxide dismutase. His name's Dr. Joe McCord, and he mentioned to me this word. He said nutrigenomics, and it was something that I hadn't heard prior to that, and frankly, I hadn't heard since that time by anybody in the lay population. Just people don't know what it is. So let me tell you what nutrigenomics is. Nutra refers to naturally occurring compounds. Just shake your heads yes with me if you think that the natural supplementation market or a natural approach to healthcare, do you think that's going to get smaller or bigger in the next 20 to 30 years? Shake your head yes with me if you think it's going to get absolutely massively bigger. We are pushing that way. We want that, okay? So that's what the Nutra stands for, naturally occurring compounds. Genomics. Genomics refers to triggering human gene expression. What that means is inviting the human genes to express themselves naturally like they did when you were 18. Now, let me just ask you this, because nobody looks like they're 18 on this phone call. I hope I don't offend anybody. But did most people feel better when they were 18, or did they feel better, this last week? Most of us felt better when we were 18, right? And there's genetic reasons why that is. The field and the expanding field of nutrigenomics is using naturally occurring compounds to get back there. That's stinking exciting. So let me jump in. I love this. This is my opening line. This is a peer-reviewed published paper, published February 25th, 2015, by a small little university called Washington State, okay, up in the Pacific Northwest. They'd been doing research on genomics, okay, and they were reviewing thousands of studies. Guys, there are over 7,000 studies on this little protein in every single one of our cells called NRF2. I'll just refer to it more easily as NRF2. There have been over 7,000 studies, and 95% of these have taken place in the last 5 years. Let me just explain what NRF2 is. NRF2 is a protein. It is a master regulator in your body. It controls and influences 500 genes on the human genome. 500 genes. The anti-inflammatory genes, the detox genes, antioxidant enzymes genes, the cytoprotective, cell protective genes, the stay young genes, okay? NRF2 is the 4-star general that controls those, okay? Every single cell in our body contains NRF2. NRF2 is highly active when we are young, up to the time we're about 18. But beyond that point, part of the natural process of malfunction aging is that NRF2 literally gets shut down. And without going into all the science, it gets bound, guys, by another protein in the body that keeps it from directing all those genes. Okay, that's a little scientific background. Why is NRF2 important? Let's go to this peer-reviewed published research paper by Washington State, the blowout there. We may be on the verge of a new literature on the health effects of NRF2. And again, this is after reviewing thousands of research papers, which may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Okay, a couple of key points before we move on. Number one, these are peer-reviewed scientists at the academic level. Are they interested in marketing? Zero, nothing. By the way, NRF2 has nothing to do with any specific product. Again, NRF2 is a body process. It's a protein that controls a genetic pathway, okay? What are they interested in doing? They're interested in understanding and promoting and pushing forward truth. That's what scientists, academics want to do. The fact that they would use strong language like most extraordinary is actually most extraordinary. They don't do that typically. The fact that they've used these two words, therapeutic and preventative, guys, in healthcare, is therapeutic a pretty big deal? Yeah, that's everything in the hospital except for the maternity ward, right? Preventative may be the single biggest undeveloped portion of our healthcare system. In other words, when we, shake your heads yes if you think preventative medicine and preventative healthcare is going to explode over the next 20 years. I absolutely believe it is. So the fact that they're saying this is the most extraordinary, therapeutic, preventative, and then they throw this word breakthrough, and then this, in the history of medicine. Now, guys, if we think about in the history of medicine, could you think of some big breakthroughs in the history of medicine? Aspirin, penicillin, antibiotics, open heart surgery, heart pacemaker, heart transplant. There's some pretty stinking big things. So for them to say this, I think this is a time for us, hey, pay attention. Issue is nobody knows about this, because how many of you have in your bathroom Acta Physiologica Sinica? It's the medical journal. It's a scientific journal, the periodical that the article is printed in. Nobody, right? Here's why. One of my friends who is a well-published PhD in psychology has published well over 50 peer-reviewed published articles all over the country. This is what he said. Seth, I wrote a blog, and in 2 days, more people read my blog than all of my peer-reviewed published research combined. Okay? People don't read this stuff, okay? So let me just talk a little about science. Oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the underlying fundamental aging problem in our bodies, guys. When you breathe, our cells, that respiration, cells doing cell work, eating, feeding, sleeping, moving, just living causes oxidative stress. Outside the body, oxidative stress can be seen, say, in a steel pipe that you set out over the winter. It rusts, right? What do we call that rusting process? Oxidation, right? The same physiological process happens in our cells. It's called oxidative stress. If you were to go to, and this is kind of a little homework, if you're multitasking, you can go do this. If you're younger than 20, you're probably already doing this anyway, and you're texting 3 other people while we're doing this call. Or you can write this down. PubMed.gov. Pub is in publish, med is in medical, gov is in the government. PubMed.gov. That's the National Institute of Health, National Library of Medicine for the United States. Okay, over 27 million medical and bio-life related peer-reviewed published research articles. This is where, if you're a researcher, doctor, where you go to get your answers. Okay, you don't go to Google, okay, for health answers or for scientific research. If you were to type in this term, oxidative stress, the search engine there, again, all of the real research would kick out 172,000 studies on oxidative stress. And let me just make it really simple. Look at this diagram. That's what oxidative stress leads to in the body. By raise of hand, well, normally if I was in a room, I'd have you raise your hand or stand up. Look, if we just looked at the brain, when oxidative stress gets imbalanced in the brain, this is what happens. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, ALS, Jake, you mentioned that. OCD, we just went from ALS to OCD to ADHD, guys. Autism, migraine, insomnia, depression, dementia, bipolar disorder, cancer. That's just the brain. We could go around the body in what I call the tree of death here, right? Oxidative stress is a fundamental underlying causative and correlative process having to do with malfunction, aging, and disease, not in the human body only, in the mammal body. And that's going to be important here in just a few minutes. So what can you do about oxidative stress? Nothing, guys. Eat some more carrots, exercise. But what they found is the supplementation, vitamins, minerals, all that, as good as that might be, for the last 60 years, it's as good as we could go. That was the ceiling. It doesn't decrease oxidative stress significantly. What can you do? Well, the discovery that we're talking about is something called Protandim. If you saw the ABC News investigative report, you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to mention it as a fact. I'm not going to go in depth, but I will say this. Protandim is not supplementation. It is activation. We've just shifted gears, guys. This is a technology shift in healthcare. Supplementation, 60 years old, okay? Activation, it's brand spanking new. All Protandim Nerf2 Synergizer does is activate the Nerf2 pathway to the level that it was active when you were young, 18, 20, 12, 8 years old. It's powerful, powerful, okay? It's just 5 natural ingredients. We've protected it with patents. Nobody can copy it. And it's been peer-reviewed and scientifically studied from major universities, government agencies all over the world. That's the next slide. But here's the kicker. Let me just enlarge this. We can claim that Protandim reduces oxidative stress on average of 40% in 30 days. Mic drop. There's nothing out there that is proven to do this. This is a peer-reviewed published study from the University of Colorado in Denver, okay? Published in 2006. That's what this does. So regardless of, hey, Seth, what am I going to feel? Okay, that's great. I love the feel. I love Jake's story at the beginning. I benefit from the product. I've seen firsthand benefits from my family, my friends, my colleagues as I've shared it with them. But beyond what I feel, beyond the testimonial, guys, you cannot argue with the science. Protandim represents a true scientific breakthrough that essentially nobody knows about. And it's cheap. It's $40 for a month's supply. Wow. Okay, let me move on. Some of the research, these are some of the research institutions. You can screenshot it. In fact, while you're multi-texting, young people, you've already texted 7 people since we started this call. If you're average, okay, some of you have texted more. Go to pubmed.gov, type in Protandim, Protandim, 23 peer-reviewed published studies on everything from geriatric patients and muscle development, okay, and muscle degeneration. That was just published, by the way, 30 days ago, to skin cancer, to heart disease, to hypertension, to muscular dystrophy, to multiple sclerosis. Now, Protandim is in the dietary supplement category. I've talked science tonight, deep science and powerful science. We are not here to cure, treat, prevent disease. Just do your research on the science. Just look at what we've said and connect the dots, okay? American Heart Association published an article, first time ever a branded supplement has been in their circulation journal. Why? Because it was real science. Multiple Sclerosis Journal, this is last year, guys. Interestingly, there are 3 drugs, by the way, all Nerf2 activating new drugs aimed at MS, okay? Average MS drug right now is $50,000 a year. Protandim is, I'll be off in 4 minutes. Protandim is $40 a month. Protandim worked better and was the most potent Nerf2 inducer above all of those drugs. And this is what the researcher said there. Therefore, may be the most suited as a therapeutic strategy. Wow. Okay. That's Nerf2. By the way, the National Institute of Health did a study, and it actually showed that Protandim lengthens lifespan. Yes, I will repeat, Protandim lengthened lifespan in males by 7%. In females, it was a trend line of 3%. I don't have time to go into all of the science, but needless to say, when we're talking about the underlying causes of malfunction, aging, and disease, and there's something that research has shown. Again, notice that I'm not saying Seth Mulder in my testimony this and that. I love testimonials. I love real-life experiences. I'm delving into facts and science tonight. That's Protandim Nerf 2. We have another genetic pathway product called Nerf 1. I don't have time to talk about it tonight, but I can just show you this. Mitochondrial dysfunction is a massive healthcare conundrum, maybe epidemic in our country. It leads to a whole bunch of conditions and concerns and problems. There's a genetic pathway that controls those mitochondria. Guess what? We developed something. It's called Protandim Nerf1 Synergizer. It's patent pending. We took the Nerf2 technology and put it into skincare. Now, I want you to think about the skincare primarily as skin protection. Think about skin issues, right? What's the number one form of a skin disease right now, right? Skin cancer. Think about this as activating Nerf2 in your skin cells. And the second issue is, hey, you get the benefits from the anti-aging, right? Huge anti-aging benefits, guys, in the appearance of wrinkles and fine lines, etc. But it's even bigger than that. Use this product every day. It's been absolutely amazing. These are some before and afters, burn stuff, and other skin issues. Again, we're running fast on time, and I'm going to keep my commitment to you to keep this call short. Axio is brain food, guys. If you knew anybody that struggled with focus issues, concentration issues, okay, whether they were young, juvenile, right, or whether they were old, energy issues, mood issues, this is the stuff for you. This is a Dibble score from a friend of mine. Her 4-year-old took a before and after, just in school. He was struggling in school. By the way, he's number 18 here. Look at his before scores on letter recognition. Okay, horrible after a year of therapy in a great school. He gets on Axio only. 6 months later, look at him at the top of the class. Amazing stuff. Another one of my friends, chiropractor, his nephew, on the left there, that's the weekly spelling list, right? Gets on Protandim, Nerf2, and Axio 7 days later. Look at his handwriting, the concentration, what's happening. It's basically genomics for the brain, but it's a liquid, it's a drink, okay? Awesome stuff there. We have Pet Tandem. So I talked about Protandim. We have Pet Tandem, guys. This is the same pill, okay? It's the same pill, but formulated for dogs, and it tastes like liver. So if you like bacon, just eat this one instead, okay? But Pet Tandem represents a massive segment in the veterinary science. And notice we've got Pet Tandem for dogs. What could that mean in the future? Okay, there are other animals. I feed the human pill to my horses every single day. It's been fabulous. And then we have a weight management program. Okay, it's called Physique. It's Smart IQ. It's intelligent weight loss and weight management. These are 6 weeks before and afters. It's not a fad product. It's not rev up your metabolism. It's not junk. Every one of the products that we talked to tonight is clean. And what I say by clean, it's some of you who are vegan concerned or gluten concerned or stimulant concerned. These are clean products that you can be proud. Number one, to safely consume, but to talk to others. So that's the product. Let me jump to the business, and then it's 9:30. So I'm going to make a close, okay? Because I made a commitment that we'd end at the bottom of the hour. The reason the business works is because of the science that I just explained to you. This product is not for, and these products are not for only the health conscious. It's not for the sick people in your life. It's not for only the people who want to prevent stuff in your life. When I saw Protandim, what I saw is, who has oxidative stress? Everybody should be shaking their heads on here. And I'm not talking about your kids running around in the background. I'm talking about oxidative stress is an everybody issue. Okay. So I think about something like aspirin. How big has aspirin been since it was discovered in 1898 and patented by the Germans? It's been massive, right? Do you take aspirin every day? No. Do you need to? Well, there's some actual research, that people, heart disease, blah, 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 blood pressure. I don't want to go there. Why have we mainly taken aspirin in the past 100 years? Headaches, right? Some pain, inflammation, whatever. That's been a mega blockbuster discovery, right? Well, what if there was something that was just a simple one pill that everybody needed? Athletes needed it because they performed better. They recovered better. Healthy people needed it because they wanted to prevent, right? They wanted to be on that, I don't want the problem side of the future of their health. What about the people who have concerns and are looking for an answer? Protandim was that. There was that thing. that I think is going to be very, very big. And I wanted to be part of sharing it with people. So here's the business, and this is my close tonight. The 3 wheels. Jake talked about the 3 wheels. There are 3 ways to make money, okay? Number 1, I call it wheel number 1. It's where you have a job, you have employment. You don't own the wheel, but you run inside of that wheel, right? Somebody else owns it and you run inside for them. You contract with them. You agree that, at least for today, you'll run and they'll pay you. Now, here's the question. If you stop running in that wheel, would they continue to pay you? No, doesn't work like that. No matter how good you are, it doesn't work like that. So a job, wheel number 1, is a way to make a living, but not a way to create a time freedom. So wheel number 2, this is the American dream, by the way. I did this at 24 years old. I started a company with some friends, made more money. It was great, but I also realized I was the guy in the wheel. I was running it. I was sweating it. I was sweating at night when the bank owned the loan on my business, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which means they owned part of my life. And I was sweating it at night. I should be sleeping. I should be getting REM. And I was stressing because of this year's fashion. We were a fashion company, clothing company, because of $1 million of inventory, because of the alarm going off, and wondering if we were being robbed, of $1 million of inventory, and $1 million of inventory that, of course, is owned by the bank, and the bank owns me. Most small business owners find that they run their lives into the ground, And I'm not saying, it's bad to be a small business owner, but do most small business owners have the opportunity to leave their business for a month and come back to a flourishing, thriving business? Doesn't happen. Again, it's a way to make a living. I love option number 3. And when I was 26, a friend invited me to look at network marketing. I didn't get it. I didn't want to get it. But I looked long enough to realize that they knew some things that I didn't know and I needed to know. An economic engine is a system in which you don't get inside the wheel. Guys, I'm working tonight. Jake's working tonight. This is work, guys. But we're not running in the wheel. Keep in mind, all we are doing is creating this economic engine, putting cogs into a machine that can turn itself. Now, keyword after, you build the machine will turn the wheel. Now, if you're in that type of situation, do you need to be there every day, every hour, every week in order to make sure it works? No, you don't. Now, if you're smart, you're going to maintain it. You're going to give it gas. You're going to oil it. It's not like you just, presto and you leave and never do anything again. It doesn't work like that. And if you've got that kind of gig, great. Get on the pill and don't worry about the business side. But most of us actually have to create our income. So here's my recommendation to people from a finance standpoint. Don't stop doing number 1. Don't stop doing number 2. That's what keeps the bills paid. But to me, it seems absolutely crazy not to start a number 3, right? A plan B or a plan C. Dedicate a sliver of time. If you've only got a nook or a cranny of time, dedicate the nook or the cranny to learning how, and this is what we teach, how to create that economic engine. So on the one side, we've got this product and this science that everybody needs, okay? On the other, we've got a financial model that everybody wants. I mean, who do you know that wouldn't want residual income? You don't know anybody. Everybody would take it if they could, okay? And what we're going to do here at LifeVantage is bridge the gap between those two. We're going to show you how this science connected with this economic engine, the business side, can create 3 things: health, time, and increased money. And most people that I know, I was a single dad for a while, and so I know what it's like to have what most parents in general, but most single parents almost unequivocally have a couple of things that they're always concerned about. It's at least 2 of these 3 things: their health or their children's health, time, because there's never enough to go around, or enough of you to go around with it, and finances. So I absolutely believe in what we're doing. Thank you for being on here. There was a bunch of people on here tonight. It's awesome just to scroll through looking at these names and the pictures. Thanks, guys. We're done. It's 9:37. I'm 7 minutes over. But thank you for taking some time. Where do you go to from here? What's next? It depends. how fast do you want to be healthier? And if that is, I want to be healthier now, then get on the product, okay? I asked that question, how fast do you want to create income, to a friend of mine who, by the way, 45 minutes earlier said, I don't have any money, Seth. I said, how fast do you want to create income? He says, I want to create it now. I'm in. Let's go to work. He enrolled that day, started taking the products, and now we're going to go build the business. That's your job. My job is to share the information and to follow up. Jake's job is to follow up. Whoever invited you, the professional that invited you on tonight's webinar, they're gonna be professional. This is a business. They're gonna follow up. The decision making is in your court, and it really just depends on what's next. How fast do you want health, time, money? So, guys, thank you so much for being on this call. God bless you. I hope to talk to you very soon, and I hope that we can help in some way. Thanks, and this call is officially in the books.
Thanks, Seth.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jake.